And of course, I mess it up.
You're good, man.
Coming to you from the Black Swan Media Studios, this is Fireside Chats, talking to the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
What is up, everyone? It is a Monday night, and we are broadcasting from the Black Swan Media Studios. We tonight are brought to you by XTech Tactical. XTech Tactical makes some really incredible stuff right here. Check this out. This is from Red October. This is their AK mag for
Nice.
Red October. This is their NASA mag right here. Here's a couple other cool things right here. This is a 21 round mag for my VP9. And this is
Nice.
their newest product that just hit the market, or going to hit the market in a couple of days, I guess. This is their smart laser. Basically, you can turn it on. It has little sensors in the back, so you can turn it on without actually having to hit a switch or anything else, so you can remain silent. It's really cool. It's a green laser, 185 lumen LED. Um, I really like it. I got a review coming out on it. That's why they are a sponsor, because I like their laser so much. Tonight, I am joined by a special guest, but before I get to that, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and ring that bell there. I'm not sure if comments are working again or not. We were having some issues last time, so you might not be able to see it. And also, you can always support. Nope, and we are not. I can't. We can't see comments on the side again. It's still broke. But yeah, you can go ahead and support the show by going to patreon.com/John Crump, or you can also go to paypal.me/John CC. All right, I am joined by Martin. Martin runs the Firearm Chronicles on Instagram, where he goes ahead and shares Second Amendment news. All right, how you doing tonight, Martin?
I'm good, and just want to say thank you for inviting me on the show, and everyone who has tuned in. Having a fantastic night. How about yourself, John?
I am doing good. If my comments actually showed up, which none of them are. But yep, John Voorhees, I see you out there. I'm gonna be doing his show, I think tomorrow night, maybe. I'm
Oh,
not
nice.
sure. But yeah, I am doing good. Just a little bit tired. Chris Shoemake's out there as well. Hey, Chris, how you doing? But yeah, just tired. Hung out with the wife. I had bad headache today.
Look at you.
Yeah, and then I'm on the deadline on a couple different things. So yeah, kind of. It's one of those days.
Little burnt out, I see.
Oh
That's me
yeah,
and you.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your channel on Instagram.
So I kicked this off maybe about a little over 2.5 years ago. Uh, I was, I started getting into firearms then. Before that, but for a lot of the time, I created one. Just like everyone, post stuff, pictures about guns. But then I kind of wanted to set myself aside and just be different. So I thought about it for a second here. I was like, well, everyone's already doing their stuff about guns. Everybody's posing. Everyone's doing their own shooting. Basically their hobbies and what they're good at. So I said, you know what? I am not seeing a lot of information as far as news on a daily basis, for people who, are, passionate and pro Second Amendment, and what I've been reading is just a lot of these things that are getting, slipped under our noses that we don't even know. So that's how I started. I said, you know what? I'm going to start reading these articles. And I started posting up on my page so people can read and see what's going on. And what got it for me to start kicking it off at 110% was when I started getting the thank yous. Hey, I didn't know this was going on. If I didn't see this through your page, I would have never have known about it. So that for me, I started going, okay, cool. So now I'm gonna, start digging through sources. A lot of websites because face it, Facebook, Instagram is the thing right now. Hardly anybody goes through websites anymore to see. So I started doing that, and I started posting up this information. I try to do it on a daily basis so people from all over the United States and in each state can see what's going on, and what's being infringed or whatever, you know, pro 2A gun laws being passed. So that's what kicked it off for me.
Yeah, it's really interesting that a lot of people don't really go out and seek out their news anymore. Do you see that as an issue? Do you wish more people would go out and seek out their own sources and everything else?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's extremely important. I mean, aside, of being, pro gun and putting up all these flashy guns and everything. I mean, that's all fantastic and great. But then, if we don't get out there and dig for these sources or write our own news articles and figure out what the heck is going on a daily basis, guess what? We're not going to be able to post these things up anymore. As we keep doing this and keep getting distracted, on the most important things that are happening right now against the Second Amendment, for example, Virginia. Um,
My
I,
state.
th- yeah, and I'm sorry, but this is another new battle, and we're facing every single day constant battles, and we should be honestly on the front lines every single day. If we want to enjoy still using firearms and posing and et cetera, for hobbies, we should get on this train as well because worst comes to worst, we're not going to have any of these things in the future.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. Um, it seems like there is kind of like an apathy with gun owners. For some reason, they don't think that their voices matter or anyone's going to listen to them. And the politicians are going to listen to the people with the loudest voice.
Sorry, let me turn on some light here real quick.
It's totally okay.
Anyways, there we go.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, and yeah, they think that their voices don't matter, but they do. The problem is that also we're divided in the Second Amendment. We got the people that only believe in hunting, and we got others that don't. Obviously, that are full in what the Constitution says, 110%. That's where we have to come together. That is a key. I mean, just for example, I mean, look what's happened in Bolivia and all these other places. I mean, they ousted their president, and the way they did it is by getting together, regardless of what's political side they're on. No, if you want to kick some people out, you all got to get together and unite and do something about it. Because that's what I keep saying. How long? How long? How long are we going to keep this going for? And in reality, we can't really find an answer for that.
Yeah, it's really crazy. If you look at what's happening in certain other countries, that shows you exactly why we need the Second Amendment. For example, the people that got shot in Hong Kong yesterday during the protest and what's going on in Venezuela. Gabby spoke at the Second Amendment rally, which you were at, and she gave a very impassioned speech about
And
what's going on in Venezuela because she's from Venezuela, so
mhm.
she sees how important the Second Amendment is.
Exactly. And what's shutting us down is that when these people go to these universities, these people that have firsthand seen what socialism has done slash communism, they're the ones that are getting shut down. These are the Americans that are here that have never lived in a pro-socialist, slash communist country. These are the people that we should be listening to. These are the same people that are telling us, hold on to your guns, guys. Hold on to your Second Amendment. You guys are so lucky you guys have a Second Amendment. And yeah, what she said was extremely powerful, and it should go mainstream. We should be putting these people on blast and say, hey, listen, it's not about hunting. This is what's happening in their country. This is tyranny. This is exactly what the Second Amendment, the Constitution, was made for, was created for. Our founding fathers knew that at some point, when they were gone, that this might happen again. And as you see, it's been happening for the last few decades.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. If you notice my little pirate flag here, it says no quarter for tyrants,
Mm-hmm.
which you can buy at blackswantactical.com. You can buy the shirt and the hoodie and everything else. That's
Nice.
blackswantactical.com. So that's my little store.
I like it,
It's
man.
one of the
No
ways.
quarter for tyrants.
It's one of the ways that I actually pay for all this stuff here. But yeah, have you ever seen that Coleon Noir video where he did with the 4 different types of hunters? You have the tactical guy, you have the hunter guy.
I I I don't recall seeing that one. At
Well,
least not yet.
well, that's really good. It basically describing what you're talking about. You have the tactical guy who's like, all about his AR-15s, and you have the hunter guy who's like, wow, I don't care about AR-15s. And you have the
And
collector and stuff like that. It was really good. John Voorhees out there says that he only buys a milsurp from like World War II, but
mhm.
he stands to stop the ban on tactical guns such as AR-15s and Glock. I mean, not Glocks, AK-47s. Which I think more people need to be like that. We need to unite the gun world. The question I have is, how do we unite the gun world?
And you know what? That's a very interesting question. That's something that I've been asking myself for quite a while. And I think, one of the answers is honestly it's what we did in the Second Amendment rally is I get it. People have their differences. People want, hey, I don't want to join the protests or, the rally because we're unarmed. That's, in my opinion, that's the wrong answer. Show up as, in masses. We have to stay united. We have to be stronger. And that's what I'm hoping that this has given some type of print for people to come out. We had some people from all over, the United States come out and support. And that's exactly what we need to do. I think a key thing is to count people by the masses each and every single time we go to these rallies. I understand that there was, a few issues with this last one as far as, getting together in some sort of leadership. But you know what? For what it was in short timing, I think it was great. But that's, I believe, is one of the keys is to actually all gather in masses. Um, that's what's going to hit the nail. That's what's going to gain attention. And the more and more people that keep showing up, the more they're going to try and, and blow us up in the media. And that's what we have to do because no one else is doing it. And unfortunately, the Nationals won that
Wait, wait,
weekend.
wait, wait,
I
wait,
don't want
wait,
to say unfortunately.
wait. You said unfortunately, man. That's
I'm
not cool.
sorry. Poor choice of words. I'm sorry. I'm glad,
All
for
right,
you, they
you're about to
won,
get kicked off the show here.
but they interfere. That also interfered with our, with our live feeds and many other news channels to come in and actually give us some coverage. To shed some light. There was some, but I believe that there could have been more. But congratulations to the Nationals.
All right.
Congratulations to you, buddy. You
Yeah.
don't even know who I go for.
Who do you go for?
I'm Mexican. Take a guess.
Houston?
The L and the A, man.
LA?
The LA Dodgers, man.
Oh yeah, didn't what happened to them this year?
Oh man, you don't want to know. Just like every other year, man, Clayton Kershaw, like he plays really well during the season, but then somehow gets to the playoffs and decides, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm done. He always chokes during the playoffs, and it's hurtful. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That brings me to a point. You are a Mexican.
Yes, sir.
And if you looked at what some people are saying, Shannon Watts, mothers against, moms demand action, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The mothers against Trump driver. Moms demand action.
Man, yeah, mom's
She
man
posted,
action.
she posted that there was a rally going on the National Mall of angry white men who wanted to protect their firearms. And somebody else wrote, it looks like a white supremacist rally in front of the Capitol. I didn't get that sense at all.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't know what they took pictures of, or I don't know if
I think
all of us. Yeah, all of us that were there, they were from different nationalities. I don't know if they like whited us out or whatnot, but that was the exact opposite. There was a lot of people from, all sorts of backgrounds that were there. I don't know where they got this from. Obviously, we know that they have an agenda.
I think that's
So
what it is.
that's exactly what it is. I think they took pictures of certain sections where, people were gathered, but
Well,
really
they didn't show the pictures. They just said it. They
they
just made a statement up. But let's not show any pictures because it doesn't look that way.
no, it definitely didn't. Even after the rally was over and we hung out to sit down and huddle and to how we can do this better for the future ones. Even then it was still all dispersed. It was all kinds of backgrounds. There was all kinds of there was nationalities. There was different races that were there. We were just all like you said, what I call the Second Amendment, family is you're not excluded. You're not excluded of your background. You're not excluded of your color. Anybody can come in, and that's the key to it. You don't have to be a certain race. You don't have to be a certain nationality. Just join us. Come talk to us. Come see what we're about.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. People need to come out and see. They push this narrative where it's like, oh, I guess they must have missed the the gay Asian guy speaking, or the black guy, or the women speaking, or
There was
the
more than one
immigrant
black guy
speaking.
there.
Yeah,
Tell you what. No, and that's truth, man. And now, kind of directing in that certain sense, now I'm going to speak just a little bit on what happened down in Mexico.
yeah. Go ahead.
Um, yeah, as far as down in Mexico, now, listen, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, but my family, my mom's from Guadalajara and my dad's from Michoacan. And I have been wanting to go visit them for such a long time now. But you imagine you have your own family from down there saying, don't come down here right now. It's way too hot on either state. What's that tell you? The Mexican government has gun control. It is, yeah, they do have some type of form of, gun ownership, but not to the max that people would think. It's difficult to actually get one. And so now this regarding with to Mexico, this is exactly the problem with gun control. The if they take away our firearms, as for example, then who's gonna have the arms in the very end? The government and the criminals, just like how they did this manslaughter. It was tragic, but even the Mormons that were down there, that did the interview right after, they said, keep your guns, don't give them up. Really protect your Second Amendment, because in the end, that's all what you're gonna have. No one else is coming for you. No one else is gonna protect us. It's gonna be us.
Yeah, Rollo out there says there were tons of speakers, black women, few Latinos, and even some LGBT reps, and that's true. But getting back to the Mexico thing, yeah, I saw her. She was talking about how we should keep our guns and stuff like that. I'm actually working on something with the family, believe it or not.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of fresh, so but
Yeah, I get it right now. It's very, very touchy. I, I
yeah,
I understand. And then there was a reporter that had the audacity. I don't know. I think he was from the Washington Post. I'm not sure. New York Times, something around this, that said, "See, the first thing he indicated was it was our fault that we need gun control. This is the reason why it happened. We need gun control." Uh,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I actually got in an argument with that guy.
oh, good.
Yeah, he said that, well, 80% of the guns in Mexico are illegally imported from the United States. And I was like, where do you have where'd you get those stats? And he's
Hmm.
like, Google it. I'm
Oh,
like,
great.
oh, so that's code word for I just pulled it out of my ass. So
Exactly. No, it's like, hey, I can Google a cough and then it could say I'm dying of lung cancer.
yeah, I
It's
mean, he just didn't expect to get called out, which, if I say something, I got facts to back it up. I can be like,
exact. Yeah,
"Hey, where'd you get the stats from?" Like FBI, this page, that's just the way
and
I am.
No, and here's just to touch up on that as far as where the cartels are getting their firearms. They actually, I used to do like a lot of research on like sicarios and everything on the the history of the Sinaloa cartels, et cetera, et cetera. And I came across this jail interview of this Zeta. I think he was their youngest killer. So they sat down and had a 1-to-1 to him, and the reporter asked him, "Hey, so where do you get your arsenal? Where do you get all your equipment from?" He plain out said, "The Mexican Navy, the Mexican police, the federales, the Mexican army." They asked him, "Well, who trains you?" He said, "The Mexican Navy. They take us out to a ranch, and they supply us with everything." So that's why a lot of these people in the cartels, when they have uh, their um, their equipment, it'll say Marine, Navy, it'll say, Federal, whatever, so we know where they get their equipment, all their M16s, their grenade launchers, AK-47s, that's from elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it as cool as you, but the Zetas, a lot of their sicarios are actually Mexican special forces or former Mexican special forces.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
like
were.
that. They were,
They
yeah.
Yeah, they were the original Zetas. I think there was 14 of them. They were hired as bodyguards at first for the Gulf cartel leader, and then the Gulf cartel leader said, "Hey, how about let's make you like a little mini faction." So that's exactly, that just de-escalated from there. They got bigger, then they started competing for turf, and that's why Tamaulipas is the way it is. So it's just a turf war between the Zetas and the Gulf cartel.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very interesting, the economy down there. I used to go diving in Cabo San Lucas and stuff like that back in the day, and
Mhm.
Cozumel, and it was beautiful. I mean, you could walk around; it was safe and everything, especially in Cabo. But right now, I just had a friend that just got back from Cabo, and they said they're told not to leave the resort because it's just too dangerous.
Wow. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm hearing about Cancun as well. I don't know what's going on down there, but people have been giving warnings, not to go out at night anymore. That it's just not the way it used to be. Same thing in the state of Jalisco as well. They have beautiful beaches, and we used to be able to go there, um, you know, all the time. I mean, we went there routinely in the early '90s, and it was beautiful. And now it's you got my own family, in some of them in Puerto Vallarta, and they're just saying, "No, man, it's not worth it. Drive during the day, but if we want to get back home, we can't do it at night because as soon as that sun hits, I was like, you got the guys patrolling the entire night."
Yeah, I mean, it's just so scary and it's so sad. Let me ask you this: if they were to declare like the cartels narco terrorist and start doing, using military power against the narco terrorist, would you be for that?
For
Like
going against them,
yeah, using some like SF raids, SEAL raids, whatnot to take out like the leadership, kind of like
that
what they do
if
with Al Qaeda and stuff like that.
that for me, that's just gonna spew more bloodshed. Because I mean, these people are going to start hiding in innocent people's homes. They're going to start kicking them out. Hey, they may even use them as human shields, as you can tell. I mean, they have no mercy. The Mexican economy and the way things are already bad enough. For these people living poor, and for them to be invaded, and getting their, whatever it is they have left, being destroyed, regardless by tanks, bombs, and everything. I that's going to leave a big mark and a huge rupture, in the relationship with Mexico and the United States. I think it's very, very, very dangerous. I think as neighbors, we will be hating one another.
What do you think about using like CIA assets, like drones to spy and stuff like that, and working with the Mexican government? Kind of like what they did in Colombia with the
Uh,
cartel.
well, here's the problem that I see with that. The problem isn't the cartels. The problem is the Mexican government. It's the greed. It's the Mexican government that lets these people operate from the beginning, starting from the presidents in the past. They've been the ones that have been letting them run loose because they get a kick of some of the cash. So in order for you to, chop off the head of the snake, you got to start at the government. Governors. You got to get, these people that they're in the Mexican presidency around there. I guess in their own Congress, if you want to say, those are the guys that are letting them run around loose.
Kind of like
So
how they took out Escobar and stuff.
exactly, and they're free to reign because government officials let them reign because they get a kickoff from that. So Mexico's government is extremely corrupted. It has to start from there. Once you cut them off, they cut the finances. They have no more protection, and then from there on, you got to start with the police force and then the military. There's um there's a lot of that shade going on, and in order for you to, I guess, be successful at it, you have to start from the top. Unfortunately, you can't work from the bottom because there's just way too many guys. There's still way too many people that get recruited on a daily basis, and that for me, like I said, like in my own reading and experience and family that I have down there, I mean, they can tell you so much more, and they'll tell you directly, firsthand, who's the problem? The government, not the cartels. The government's the one that lets them run loose.
Yeah, right now my wife is Italian. We
Mm-hmm.
used to go back to Sicily every summer, but it's bad over there too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we haven't been back to Sicily in a few years because it's too dangerous right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think a lot of people in the United States realize how much the world is going to hell right now. We're kind of isolated from it.
And exactly, and a lot of that is because I believe the media has an agenda that nothing's too safe. Like they don't want to cover that. I think there's something else in the works that's going on. I mean, because you see and hear a lot of this stuff. I mean, we get the news from what we see, from what they tell us. We don't know if it, how bad it actually is. It's just like how they show the statistics in Mexico, of people that have been killed. We don't know. It can be double that for all we know. Maybe it could be watered down. And yes, I mean, I think that these things should be brought up. I mean, our own safety is, and the safety of our families is, is a number one priority, not just for me, but for many other people. And governments, if they're, true to their word, and they need to start kicking up some more gears into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy. Do you think a Second Amendment in Mexico would help out?
That's difficult right now, especially if they start giving them off right now.
No, I mean, like if they always had it.
Yes, I actually do believe it. Right now, as far as I know, I mean, I don't want to say personally known, but of family members and family friends down there that own full auto AK-47s, M16s, and they take care of their own. When it comes to that, especially how things are going right now and have been going, I think if the Mexican people, had a Second Amendment, just full blown, without restrictions, yeah, the people will be victorious. Exactly. I think they would go from the cartels all the way to the politicians.
There's a
Um,
territory down there that actually had they actually all got guns and they fought back against the cartels until the government came in and basically disarmed everyone.
yeah, that was in the state of Michoacan.
Yeah.
They were, I forgot their group, but yes, they were gathered together by this gentleman that they call El Profesor. So he was actually the one that got these people together and got these groups and got the approval, and they started hunting these guys down. And they were actually doing a good job. They kicked a lot of the cartels, or the the stronghold, out of that state. And yes, then the government decided to intervene. They asked them politely, "Hey, give up your guns, and join our forces." The guy says no. So what do? They arrest the guy, and now he's in a prison up in northern Chihuahua.
Yeah. We, the female, also known as Carrie, says hi.
Oh, hi, Carrie.
Yeah, she's
I
out
know.
there as well.
Stilettos.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know why it's not really what feeding all the comments over where you could see them as well, but I don't know. I'm not going to
No,
more.
I'm not seeing it either. So
What, what,
sorry,
they,
guys. I can't see any of your comments.
they said they were going to fix it, and it was supposed to be fixed like by Sunday, and it's still not. So I don't know. Yeah. Carrie wants to know: was he really a professor?
Uh, you know what? I don't recall 110%. I saw this documentary maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago. But I think 110%. I'm sorry, about 99.9% sure that he was a professor. Um, and the guy was just got fed up with the injustice. I mean, the military wasn't helping. Obviously, the local law enforcement wasn't helping. So
The local law enforcement were all on the take, apparently, if I remember correctly.
the what?
The local law enforcement was all like working with the cartels.
Oh yeah, notoriously and unfortunately, because they were forced to do this, or else they'd also pay with their lives or their families' lives.
Yeah, what is
They would gather their kids and murder them.
Yeah, it sounds cooler in Spanish, but Pablo Escobar used to say gold or lead.
Hmm. It's an plata o plomo.
Plata o plomo. Yeah, it sounds a lot
Plata
better
o plomo.
that way.
Exactly.
But that was this thing, and I think the cartels are using that. Let me ask you another question about the cartels and a way to combat them. With the legalization of like weed, like nationwide, for example, do you think that would do anything to the cartels?
I think in a sense, yes. I don't know how big of a financial hit, but the majority, I think, if you ask me, the majority of their profit is methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin. I mean, I think their fallback. Like I said, I'm no expert on drug dealing. I've never been a drug dealer. I don't really know the numbers on that, but I think that weed would be like their fallback if they ever got cracked down. On cocaine, meth, or heroin. Like if for whatever reason they stop, they completely stop the trafficking of that. Um, I think in a sense, yes, it would impact them. Um, because then after that, people, once you're able to, manufacture it legally, and the government's able for you, you're able to consume it, I think it does take a financial hit on them.
One of the things that about the cartels, and we get off the cartels, they're just fascinating to me, is a lot of the younger cartel members post a lot on Instagram, which is
Yes, they do. And and that's a big downfall because in my opinion, the cartels and everyone, they kind of want to be hidden, not any secrets, or want to know any roads and pathways. And it's just like any other flashy thing. They do their Ferraris, the gold plated guns, the 38 Supers, AK-47s, and that's a downfall with that is most Hispanic Latinos want to show off what they have.
oh, okay. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, and it's true. Most Hispanics, they want to, look at this, look what I got. It's nice, gold plated, diamond encrusted. But
I've
that's
never actually
always,
heard that.
yeah. It's and the reason how it started as well is by narco music. Them explaining
Yeah.
what they have, they're gold plated, they're diamond, so they took that and basically put it to real life. In hand, I'm gonna show you, etc., etc.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Let's get back to the Second Amendment rally for a second. You traveled out to DC from where you're from, which is far away. You're in Iowa?
I'm in Boise, Idaho.
Idaho.
Hmm.
Every time I hear Idaho, I think of the Simpson thing.
Potatoes.
No, uh, the little, the little kid who's dumb.
Which one?
Uh,
Uh, you know what? I'm drawing a blank, but I know what you're talking about.
and he goes, "I'm Idaho."
Yep, I remember that. I just can't think of the name. I'm drawing a blank with that.
So you flew out to DC for the Second Amendment rally. Uh, did you fly out early, or did you only fly out for the weekend? How long were you out in DC?
I got there Friday and left Sunday.
Got there Friday and left Sunday.
Hmm.
That's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it's I've just always been that kind of guy, man. Eh, I need to be there for the most important, and then kind of bounce back. That's just me. But I actually just want to give a shout out, to some of the the followers that hopefully are on here watching me. It wasn't me that made it possible. It was them. It was one of the uh, I put up a GoFundMe page, and I got some. They helped me fund this thing. I also had a gentleman that had his Southwest airline points and said, "Hey, I can do this round trip for you. Just if you're gonna go out there and do this, just you know, don't forget to represent and do some live reporting for us," which was my goal. I wanted to step it up instead of going from this news page that I've been doing for 2.5 years. So I wanted to step up my game with this, and that's what I wanted to bring to them. And I want to say a very very special thanks to them, because without them, I this wouldn't have happened. This couldn't have happened, and I'm super grateful. And I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember this because in case they ever need anything in the future, they can hit me up as well. And also, I want to give a shout out to Carrie, for also bringing this up, and helping me out as well, and to get to where I need to get as far as page wise and exposure.
Chris Shoemake says it's a Ralph Wiggins, uh, the Simpson guy, the son of Chief Wiggins. And
Chief Wiggins.
Gun Doctor TV, hello out there. I see you. Yeah, it was an interesting day, and it was a great day actually. It was the weather was perfect.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I agree. That was fortunate. It wasn't cold. It was just it was comfortable enough. And I mean, I think for what the turnout was in such short timing, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, obviously, it could always be better, but I think for what we had and the short time, I thought it was great.
Yeah. Who was your favorite speaker?
My favorite speaker, I want to say, was Gabby and Stilettos and Shotguns as well, because of their powerful stories. I Everyone else was great. You know, don't get me wrong, I loved it, but both of them stood out for me. One because Gabby, because she came from a socialist country. She knows exactly the struggle. And
That speech was
Car-
impassioned.
oh yeah, and that should raise a bunch of red flags on people to say, hey, there's she's speaking from from experience. Don't lose what you have. And then Carrie coming out with her, with her story, first time that she has shared, about her past, and her finally, unfortunately going through what she went through. She went out and got training to for some self protection. That itself should be a powerful story for a lot of women, and men too, who get abused, to come out and say, "Don't be afraid. This is what's happened. Do this before it's too late, because you may not be a survivor."
Yeah, Rollo says that Katie and Carrie killed it. I happen to agree with that.
Hmm. Definitely, I agree 110%. I mean, those were very powerful stories and backgrounds on that. That shouldn't be taken light with a grain of salt. I mean, that should be taken with great consideration and important, and that should embolden people, to exercise what we have. Because
Yeah.
if not, we're going to be vulnerable to all sorts of harm.
Yeah. Do you know what my background is with the Second Amendment? Why I'm so pro Second Amendment? I want to
I
read.
don't, brother.
When I was a baby, I was less than a year old. My mom was home alone with my sisters and me, and there was a home invader that broke in with a big ass knife. So my mom told him I had a little 38 special, pulled it out on him, told him to leave. He said, "No, I'm not leaving." My mom said, "I will shoot you if you don't leave." And he says, "No, you won't." Mom says, "If you take one more step, I will shoot you." He said, "No, you won't." And he took a step. And my mom doesn't bluff.
No, I'm sure she didn't. I mean, especially if you have kids,
Yeah.
I don't expect anybody to bluff.
Yeah. So she shot him. And if she didn't do that, or if she didn't have a gun, I might not be alive right now.
That's true, and a lot of people don't understand that. That's a drastic step as well. It's not, an easy decision, but when you absolutely have to use it, especially if you have your family around, of course, uh, you exercise it, and that's where I'm at as well. I'm not out looking for trouble. I'm hoping that I don't run into trouble, but I know that if I do, then I have something to protect myself with. And if I have to, as a last resort, I will utilize this tool.
Why do you think? Yeah, Tony from Facebook says, "Go, mom." Yeah, I say that every time. Why do you think that they always try to play up the evils of guns in the minority communities?
I think that's, if you ask me, that's like another agenda type deal. I think it's a certain type of indoctrination in its sort. They're trying to make it, the Second Amendment obsolete. I think they're trying to say, hey, don't trust yourself, trust the government. You know, trust their way of thinking. Don't think for yourself, because in that sense, like I said, they want to indoctrinate you in taking your right to bear arms and for your own self protection. They don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to rely on yourself. They want you to do, think somewhere else.
Yeah, it always cracks me up with the same people who says cops are evil, then says only cops should have the guns.
Right.
It's like,
And then, yeah, cops are evil, and then something happens, and then they say, cruelty, cruelty, cruelty. Well, you want cops to have the guns, right? What makes you think that they're not going to take it to this next level? Worst comes to worst, when they give the order, who's going to step away and who's going to, obey these laws. We have no idea.
yeah. Um, what was your biggest takeaway from the Second Amendment rally?
My biggest takeaway was, if you ask me, the unity. I think that we started off with a pretty solid foundation, and by a lot of, as far as like the crowd gathering, I think we had enough to, meet one another, to greet one another, to talk to one another. That way, we link up and connect, and you know see what we can do better each and every single time. Um, the speeches were fantastic. I mean, everyone had great points. Whatever they touched up on, and I think that for the future, we should be getting more, different speakers every time to listen to their stories as well, versus me happening every single year. You know, I think that it's vital that we get different people every year. So I think it would encourage way more people to come in. Oh, cool. I want to speak about this. I want to do this the following year. So
Yeah,
I believe like the biggest strength was actually, you know, in such short notice, how, the people that came together, in that timing. Um, that was a huge one for me.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. The unity was a great thing to see, and I hope that they do it again. I'm not sure if they will or not. I know it's up for debate. I think they probably will. I don't think the key organizer is going to be out. I know like Rob wants to do it again and stuff like that. I'm not sure about Jeff Knox, but I know Rob does. One thing I would like to see is to see it expand to where people can do a Second Amendment rally in their hometowns.
You know what? And that's a great point. I mean, that's a great way to start. And it would be great if there could be one, two, however many in each state on the same day. I think that's a one way to look at it, an avenue to think about. But if this is going to happen, I think that there should be a plan starting basically today. That way, we have all that timing, we have all that planning, until what, 3, 4, 5 months later before we do it, and not be so short notice. I like to for people to gather some cash, be able to take some time off, and come down and be part of this movement. This is not something simple. It's nothing that should be taken lightly. This is very, very, very important because we don't have an 110% freedom. We don't, we're exercising what we have left of the Second Amendment.
Yeah, they always say they want sensible gun laws, and they use all these like buzzwords, which drives me crazy, and they don't even know what they mean. Like today, I was going through some Twitter stuff, and some guy was like, you know, AR-15 can fires 10 rounds per second. Like, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I mean, just like Kevin De Leon from California, he said the same thing. This is a ghost gun. This is a 30 caliber clip that shoots 30 rounds in a second. Or however long he said it. It's the same garbage, and unfortunately, with their successes, is that it reaches the people that have absolutely no clue, about firearms in general. People that don't want to educate themselves, or they're just in general not educated. And I think a big impact that we can do is outreach, is reach to these people and say, hey, don't listen to see what's on TV. If you want to have a conversation, or I will invite you to come here and we can try some of these things out and not give you any misinformation. We want you to know what all this is about.
How do we ver- do that outreach when people are so hesitant because they're so afraid of guns? Like, I took one of my friends
Mhm.
shooting, and he is of Indian descent, and he was afraid to go shooting. He's like, well, I heard that there's a bunch of racists there. Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about? I was like, no.
and that's 110% true. It's just like you said. I mean, at the gun shop where I work at right now, there's we've I don't know how many people we've gotten in, and it is their first time coming in looking at guns. And we give them that experience, that courtesy, we give them all this information, and the first thing that comes out of their mouths is, wow, we thought that you guys were just gun nuts, a bunch of angry people, a bunch of racist people. And it's like, but now I'm seeing something different. And I said, that's because you've been listening to the media and others that have been giving you that misinformation. And they have said, you know what, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to come in next time, and can you lead me to classes because I want to purchase a firearm? And that's a big step. A big step is just being humble, being nice, being open about it, sitting down and actually having a conversation, because the impression that they have of us is that we're angry, that we're against them, that we just want to shoot and kill everything. That's completely false. If they can sit down and want to have a conversation, we can achieve so much more, but it's the approach, is, how to get them in, it's how you engage with them, versus doing, a mag dump, if it's their first time at a gun range, and just start mag dumping them because it's their first time. Okay, now you just scare the crap out of them. Now they're not going to want to shoot.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. It is definitely you have to use kid gloves with them. Like the first time I used to teach people how to shoot, I started them out with the 22, and if it was their first time shooting, I never went higher than a 9mm caliber.
No,
I didn't scare them off.
no, and it's important. Just how you say, most people want to start them off with something, a 9 mil, 40, 45. Yeah, that's cool if you've been doing this since you were a kid, but you just got to keep in mind, even at 22, when they see a long Ruger, they think, oh my gosh, this thing's gonna bang. No, this is how we're gonna start off. Yes, a rifle is long, but look at the round. This is how we're gonna start off, and then they eventually start working their way up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to do that. I think the outreach needs to be there more. That's why I like what Maj Torre is doing, for example, with the Black Guns Matter, going into the inner cities and teaching people that guns aren't something that you have to be afraid of. Which I think a lot of people are because of just misconceptions.
Yeah.
Top Shelf Tactical says one of the biggest mistakes gun nuts make is handing a new shooter a 44 mag or whatever the largest caliber they own is.
And that's true, because as soon as they fire the first round, yeah, sure, we think it's funny, or they think it's hilarious, but now they fire the first round, it goes bang, hits the barrel hits them in the forehead, and that's that. They're gonna say no, I'm never gonna touch one of these ever again, let alone trust. That's the biggest thing. We want to earn their trust with this, and they're also trusting us that we're gonna guide them in the positive direction.
Yeah, I saw a guy hand his girlfriend, who've never shot before, a 12 gauge, and this girl is like 5'1". She weighed like 95 pounds. And I went up there and I was like, you don't want to fire that. And her boyfriend's like, you mind your own business. I'm like, dude, why are you doing that to your girlfriend? You're shooting 12 gauge slugs. She's never shot before. Her friend tells never she was to shoot. And the first thing you hand her is a 12 gauge for your entertainment. I was just so pissed off.
Oh, I don't blame him for doing something like that, because for being angry, it's just you're trying to get these people to comprehend and understand and see where you're come from in this. They're brand new to the gun world. So you just can't do that to them. You just can't. After that, then they'll go and tell their friends. Actually, yeah, shooting a 12 gauge, shooting a shotgun is scary in itself. These things do go bang, because that's just going to be implemented in their brains from now on, saying that now if this hits hard, everything else is going to hit hard. They don't know what buckshot is, they don't know what birdshot is, they don't know what slugs are. They're just going to think that everything shoots the same.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think it's bad. You got to start people out slow and work them the way out. Plus, that also lets them get the technique right, which will help them fire bigger calibers.
Definitely. I mean, because the first thing you want to do is earn their trust. You want to earn their trust, and they want to trust you, and that's what they want to see. Like I said, they don't want any misleading. I mean, me personally, when I first started out as well, years ago, I think I fired my first gun when I was 20, 21, and luckily I had somebody that said, here, start off with this 22. It's like, well, once I shot it, I was like, is this it? He's like, yeah, that's it. And then me myself, I said, well, I think I'm ready for an AR. Let me shoot your AR. And that's how I kind of started with the same thing. I got bold. Started with a 9, then 40, then a 45, and now I own a 10 mil. That's one of my favorite rounds. I've shot 500 Smith and Wesson. It's fantastic, but like I said, it all starts at the bottom. It all starts by planting that seed.
Yeah, 10 mil is a great round.
It's all by approach. That's really how to do it. It's all by approach.
I don't like 40s, but I do like 10 mils, which is almost the same. But
Yeah, yeah, and up here in Idaho, I mean, you don't have to drive far to be into grizzly country to begin with. You just drive an hour or so. You know, 10 mil and anything above that, hard cast ammo, double tap, and that's what I take up there, man. I take no risks.
yeah, we have no grizzlies down here. We only have black bears.
Just
But
as bad, if you ask me.
black bears run from you.
Yeah, yeah. Grizzlies do as well, but you just don't want to risk that.
Yeah, grizzlies.
That's definitely don't want to risk.
I saw grizzly man.
Oh,
No,
grizzly man, yeah,
I don't want to be eaten. What a freaking tent! What an idiot!
no,
Let's go mess around with with the grizzlies.
nah, hell no. I mean, would you jump in the ocean with great whites? No, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyways, oh
So
man,
so
I lost my train of thought real quick.
yeah. So tell me, tell everyone out there how they can find you.
How they can find me?
Yeah, on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, just go to at Firearm Chronicles, and you can just hit on from there.
Are you gonna do any more live reporting for any other events?
Yes, I am. I do plan on doing that in the near future. I mean, when we have another Second Amendment rally, hoping, or if we do anything local, I'd be more than happy to do that.
Yeah, we are doing a gunathon for GOA in April
Hmm.
on the 25th in the DC area, and I am willing to offer you a press pass if you would like.
Oh wow! And when is this again? I'm sorry.
April 25th, it's going to be a lot of basically almost all the speakers you saw at the Second Amendment rally will be there, along with JDF was going to be there, and manufacturers testing out their new stuff, and you have an opportunity to actually shoot guns.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'd be more than happy to do that. I thank you for that opportunity. Yeah, I'd be willing to do this for all the followers. Like I said, I don't do any of this for profit. I don't ask for anything. I just want to bring news to everybody. I want people to repost. I just want the information out there. I don't want anybody in the dark.
Yeah, I just wish that more people would I wish we would be able to. Somebody wants to know if you're gonna get out to SHOT or NRA.
At where? I'm sorry.
SHOT show or NRA?
The SHOT Show I haven't been invited to yet. I'm not formally like a press or anything.
You should apply. Well,
Um, yeah, I mean it's worth taking a shot. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and give that a shot and see what happens from there.
yeah, it's a fun time, and Idaho is not that far away from Nevada.
No, it's only a flight. I think it's only like 35 to 40 minutes anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, definitely. I'm gonna try and apply and see how far that goes as well.
yeah. With Gunathon, you definitely have a press pass waiting for you.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I truly, truly, truly appreciate that. And like I said, I'll save some pesos up for some better equipment. That way, I can keep reporting live to everyone.
Oh,
And what's
go
up?
ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Keep going.
and no, and just for future reference, everybody that's on this. I mean, I everybody can be Firearm Chronicles. I mean, just go out and dig and you know dig some information, paste it, and repost it. Like I said, this isn't a one man job. I think this can be for everybody. So I don't take heat. I don't take any type of pride. I think it's just important to get the information in general. Anyone can be Firearm Chronicles, really, and that's what I encourage people to do. Go out and start spreading this information to see all these people in social media all across the United States. We just need to be, on our toes with this.
All right. Final question. Out of everyone that you got to meet, have you got to meet a lot of the YouTubers and other people at the Second Amendment rally? Who did you like to meet the most?
I want to say Mr. Dick Heller was the one that I liked to meet. I loved everybody, but Mr. Heller was definitely one that I was starstruck. I
Yeah,
guess you could say that.
Dick's a good guy, man. He actually works for the GOA now.
Oh, nice, good, yeah. He sends me texts, and he's texting me throughout the week. So, no, it was a great, it was a great honor to really to meet him. So I never thought that I would.
Yeah, he puts it all on the line. Very good guy. I see Cowboy out there as well. He's producer Cowboy. He's the guy that, if you saw me out there, he's the guy that was running around with the camera.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, yeah, I do
Hero.
remember.
But yeah, Dick Heller is a great guy, and I want to have you back. I'm going to give you the final word before we go. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Yeah, I do. I want you to go ahead, guys, and you know, let's not take our rights for granted. We can't just sit back and be complacent. I mean, if we want to get our voices heard, we got to get together as one and be one voice. Set your differences aside, because in the end, if we don't fight for what we have now, we're not going to have any of it. Anything of it. Open your ears. Take in consideration. About what these people that have gone through in Venezuela, in other parts of the country where they don't have a Second Amendment. And you know try and outreach somebody that doesn't know about firearms, that is not educated on it. Enlighten them. For those who want to know about it, for those that have been kept in the dark. So um, anybody can join the Second Amendment family. We just got to approach them, in a very different way, because the mainstream media, and they've given us um, a bad name. They've given us a bad reputation. Being racist, and some type of gun crazy. So um, don't be afraid to reach out to people.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was fun. I'm glad to have you back on.
Definitely. No. I thank you again for the opportunity, and I want to thank everybody that actually tuned in as well. Yeah, I look forward to being on the show again, John.
Yeah, Top Shelf Tacticals have agrees with you 100% out there. Matt Desk Cowboy says get involved with your local council, set up Second Amendment sanctuaries. John Voorhees says he pays attention. I'm just reading through some of the comments I didn't get to. Yeah, it's good. Rello has some good comments out there.
Earl's my boy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was great having you on, man. We got to do it again. For everyone out there, I will be back Wednesday with another Instagram star. This time, Gun Channels.
Nice.
He'll be there. Then I'm be on Thursday for a political show. Friday we have another guest. It's Saturday. I think I'm gonna take off and not do a show.
And also, just one more thing, man. I want to thank you as well, man, because I post up your articles as well on my Instagram, dude. So you're part of why this whole this whole platform has increased for me, man. And I definitely dig the stuff that you write. And like I said, I think it's my duty to keep spreading it, man. And I want you to keep doing the same, man, because you definitely reach out to me. So, and I want to do the same for everyone else.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
One other thing, tonight's episode was sponsored by X-Tech Tactical. Check out this I love this mag. The 21 round mag, my bedside gun here with the smart laser light on there. It's freaking incredible. I love it, love it, love it. go check them out. There is a link in the description. Click on that. They'll let them know that you came to them through this show. And yeah, it would keep us funded a little bit longer. Thank you all. And you all have a good night. And remember, no quarter for tyrants.
You've been watching Fireside Chats with John Crump, a Black Swan Media Group production. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tune in every week for a conversation with the difference makers in the world.